pretend. Pull the trigger, my heart beats fast. Every second, the future's the past. One shot, don't ask me why. It's scalp or die. It's scalp or die. Oh, scalp or die. I'm living on the edge. Every tick, every breath I hedge. Scalp or die, the thrills my high. Win or lose, I kiss the The screen's glowing, it's 3 a.m. Charts are moving, I'm chasing them. Candle whispers, they speak in flames. Risk is the devil, but I play his game. Quick moves, no time to cry. It's scalp or die, it's scalp or die. Scalp or die. I'm living on the edge. Every tick, every breath I hedge. Scalp or die, the thrills my high. Win or lose, I kiss the sky. Green and red, they're my only friends. 1 minute charted, never pretend. Pull the trigger, my heart beats fast. Every second, the future's the past. One shot, don't
Screens glow green, coffee at 3, chasing that flash in the price I see. Little sparks popping on the chart, every tiny flare kicks my greedy heart. I win with dots when the candles run hot. The lights in a line tell me jump in or not. I spin that wheel, but it's mapped on the plot. When the trend turns up, I win with dots. Win with dots. Oh yeah. Tiny trails up the axis climb. Tap one click, I'm in just in time. Ride that wave till the rush feels wrong. Soon as color flips, I'm already gone. I win with dots when the candles run hot. Little lights in a line tell me jump in or not. I spin that wheel, but it's mapped on the plot. When the trend turns up, I win with dots. Win with dots.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How's everybody doing? Sound check, vibe check, mic check. All checks. Give me plus ones. Let me know if you guys hear me, see me. Everything looks good to me so far. Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I want to walk you through the anatomy of this trade, which probably is going to be a losing trade. I mean, totally my fault, but it's very, very interesting to sort of run you through it because it really, really captures everything that we do, and it really explains to you exactly how the markets trade. I've been making this argument since the beginning of the week that the only trades that matter these days are the trades at the edge. In other words, your only edge in trading the markets these days is going to be at session highs, session lows, ORB highs, ORB lows, the key levels where activity is going to tip its hand, right? And let me get where's my little, oh, here we go. Okay, I just want to get my boomer a magnifying glass here. So I just want to walk you through how clear and clean the ORB indicator shows you what's going on. We move towards London session lows right over here, right? We're marking, these are the London session lows over here. And you can obviously see that basically we're just coming in here to kind of test the lows a couple of times. And you literally see the market testing the lows, testing the lows, testing the lows, right? And I made, I wanted to trade the reversal trade. I wanted to trade the move of like we test the lows and we break the highs. And what happened was I just got a little bit of bad luck. I was looking for this candle to actually break this high. And about 59 seconds of the 60 seconds of the candle, the candle was trading above here, right? And then at the very last minute, it just peaked down. And I had gone there early, and then because it broke and did not hold the high, I was like, "Oh, I'm getting out of the trade," which was basically a fake out, because I just simply got bad luck. Had I stayed in this trade, testing the highs and then testing the lows and then breaking the highs, she would have showed us so clearly that this was the perfect turn candle, right? So the turn candle then comes in 2 candles later. My thesis is correct. By the way, now we have London session lows, and now we have a trade. So I'll come back to deconstructing the turn trade, because now we literally have a continuation trade that I want to take you down on. The trade that we always want to take is if we have fresh session lows and they hold, and the key thing, they got to hold this. If this candle doesn't hold, which it doesn't, it might very well be just a easy double bottom test. But we're going to watch this very carefully. I'm going to trade this in the 56 account. If it holds, the idea being that we're going to try and trade the continuity. And I'm going to show you sort of the new place where the new way that I'm trading, which many of you may not like, but I find it to be very, very productive for me. And some of you who are, hold on a second, here we go, sell. All right. I made one mistake. Okay, so let me see if I can get you in here. Where am I? Wait, which? Oh, I'm in the wrong count. Okay. Okay. So there's 2 things I did here that while I'm talking, I shouldn't have done. Let me walk you through it. This is where I want my stop, all the way at session lows. I'm in at 58. I want to be at 48 on my target. Let me see if I can just make my target. There we go. I made my target. And let me explain to you what I'm doing, which, as I said, many of you may not like, but it's the only way that I find myself really getting back into the rhythm. For the last week, I've really, really been trying to do the Vince protocol with you, where you add to winners, you have a whole bunch of losers, and you add to winners, and you make this one big trade. And theoretically, philosophically, mathematically, that is absolutely the right way of trading, but it's absolutely the wrong way of trading for me. I can't seem to execute that trade well. I'm not happy with it. I was miserable for the last couple of days. Basically, the only thing we accomplished the last couple of days was get a couple of accounts funded. I really couldn't get any progress on anything, because the way I trade and the way that I like to do it is very short, focused structural wins, and just compound those wins, compound those wins. So within my own interpretation of how I trade dot structure, by the way, I'm not going to trade this trade right now, because I have a golden X. It's not that the trade is not good. What this is telling me is that the amount of risk I would need to assume, so trade anyway goes with the amount of risk I would need to assume is too much for what I want to do, because I have to assume a very, very large amount of risk. And once it becomes a golden X, it becomes too much risk for me to assume. And I'll explain to you why. In order for the way I'm trading dots, which is we have our dot entry, whether it's a white dot, purple dot, or session lows, session highs, or ORB lows, ORB highs, all of those levels. When we run all those levels, the entry point is the entry point, but the stop point for the kind of trading that I find myself to be the most successful is not the high or the low of that particular trigger candle. It actually has to be, for me, the swing high or the swing low of that particular segment, right? So I therefore, like, just to give you an idea, okay, let me give you a classic idea of a trade that I traded over here. Then we're going to go in here. So imagine, we are trading, right? And in this new structure, I have the white dot candle. Now, in the old way, I would say just put your stop underneath here. That's it. But that's not successful for what I need to do. What I need to do is I actually need to put the stop at the swing low, the lowest point low between this dot and this dot, right? Which in this case would be actually right over here. So this would be my actual low as my trade. Now, the second component of my trade structure, also very controversial for many of you probably, is I literally put a 10-point target from my entry. I vary my stop. I don't vary my take profit. So my take profit is fixed and my stop is variable, which is the exact flip of every risk control structure there is. But as a result of that, you often run 8, 9, 10, 11 winning trades in a row. And all of that, is within the much larger risk management structure I have across all of these 6 accounts, which I can talk to you a little bit more about, that really, really basically cements what I'm trying to do in terms of the overall structure. Anyways, there's a lot of stuff to show you. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. You guys see it as I go along. You'll see me trading as I go along, and we can discuss more of it as we see. For now, let's just simply work on whatever setups we have. You'll see me execute it my way, and you guys can, of course, execute it your way, whichever way you want. Right now, what we have is, oh, look at this. Did I miss the London session low here? Interesting. Okay. Right now, what we have is possible reversal trade. Point of control buy over here, meaning that if the market is able to run and close prices above 65, that would give us confidence that this is a reversal trade. And under my structure, I would be in this trade, and the stop would be the swing low stop, which would be over here. It would be this. I would have to hold the stop all the way over here. Let's see how it plays out. Good morning, everybody. Somebody give me a thumbs up. Any questions? I'm going to put together, by the way, everybody who, all of you got the link to make sure to get the ORB. What I also want to give you now is the actual ORB playbook. I'm putting the link into chat. Bookmark this, and everybody who's new, everybody who's not part of our trading community, who just coming and hanging out, watching me trade, this is all free resources. This is the ORB playbook, not the DOTS playbook, but the ORB playbook that I've issued that has all the rules. Bookmark it because it's a live living document, and you can anybody has free access to it. So be my guests. And of course, let me put the link in. This Saturday, I will be doing, where is this thing? Wait, hang on, let me find it. Sorry. I need my bit.ly link. I'm trying to find it. I want to give you the link to the webinar that I have coming up this Saturday. Here we go. Okay, please register if you haven't. And if you're new in the room and you just come hanging out with us, this is an amazing resource. If you register, you will get access, even if you don't attend, you'll get access to the full video. And of course, all the resources that I'm going to be sharing with everybody. There's an enormous amount of free resources as well as some developed resources that I'm going to give everybody about the whole ORB strategy. I will tell you this, that I have a full functioning trading ORB robot. If you have a MetaTrader, account, you literally can have this auto trade for you, and with some very, very impressive results, especially on gold. It had really, really excellent results as a gold trader. So please take that link, register, even if you can't come because it's 7 o'clock in the morning. For some of you, it may be too late, but this is obviously geared towards Australia and Asia because we want to be talking to our partners there. I will send you the full video of the presentation that you can watch to your heart's content, but only people who register. The ORB did get pushed out to everybody who is part of coaching and lifetime members, because that's the only people that get it. So if you did not get that email, just simply join us for coaching or upgrade to coaching. If you are part of it and somehow you missed the email, just send me an email and I'll make sure that you'll get the link. Here's the link to my coaching here. Hang on. Okay. So again, you see how we're stalking the edge levels. London session lows possibly overturned over here. Still haven't broken the point of control level. If we do, we would have a really reasonable chance for a reversal trade. If we don't, we may be able to test the London session lows more and more trade continuity. The great thing about our structure is that we are completely agnostic as to what, where the trades are. We take the trades that have the highest probability given its context, right? So if the trade is near its lows and making fresh lows, then the context is momentum. If the trade is on the reversal side and taking out the highs of its most nearest lows, then the context is reversal. And context is really the key to success in trading. It's never about up or down. It's only about, is it up now or is it down now? So good morning. Who's new in the room here? Who's never traded with us? Come say hello to me. Let me know what you guys are doing. Let me know what you guys are trading. We're trading NQ. Hopefully, in a couple of weeks, some of our other partners are going to be lighting up, and then we're going to be able to chance to trade gold as well. But as you guys know, I really like to trade one product per session because I find that the greater the focus we have, the better the success. BFF does not stand for unfocused. Hello, Lone Wolf Nomad. How are you? Where are we now at time? 9:19, 10 minutes before the open. Maybe give ourselves another 5 minutes of window, and then after that, we will be patient. So from a macro point of view, those of you guys kind of just sort of reading the headlines, it's, obviously not a surprise that we unwound yesterday's euphoria, because the cold, hard reality of the situation, I think, is probably a relatively difficult negotiation. The Iranians are only at the table because they're basically on the edge of death. And the more I thought about it, actually, I kind of realized I think what Trump is doing is the negotiation is being done against the movement of the 42nd Airborne and the U.S. Marines on Tripoli, meaning that they're almost there. Tony or whoever is military or ex-military, you guys tell me what is the ETA to be in the strait for Tripoli, because that is the hammer that I think is going to be part of the negotiations. I think the play here is, okay, I'm going to give you 5 days of breathing room just so that I can strangle you even harder afterwards if you don't do what I say. Because I think at this point, they've degraded the Iranian assets so badly. 70% of their launchers have been destroyed. I mean, obviously they want to probably go for 90, and I think Israelis are still trying to clean up as much of that as possible. You've already seen that people keep constantly putting out the rate of sortie, the rate of rocket deliveries from Iran, and while some of them have been very deadly because they are truly doing. I mean, you want to talk about people are talking about a war crime. I mean, I saw people talking about, oh, we're committing a war crime. We're not even coming close to the war crime that the Iranians are doing. Iranians are using cluster munitions, literally outlawed munitions, the most terrorist weapon you can possibly imagine, designed specifically for civilian deaths. They're doing this against Israelis every single day. And of course, nobody talks about it because it's Israelis, so they don't count as human beings. But the single most greatest war crime going on right now is the cluster munitions offense. So my point being is that, like, the amount of launches that Iranians have done is a fraction. I think it's about 10% of their original level, but the lethality of it has actually increased because they're using these cluster munitions. So I don't think Israelis are going to let up until that threat is eliminated as much as possible, because they are incurring civilian casualties. Fortunately, not so much mortalities, but civilian casualties. So Temtem is saying ETA is Wednesday, right? So that's my point. I think Tripoli is the hammer, because the true play here, and when people are talking about, oh, Iranians are going to bomb Karg Island, they're going to launch what do you call them, drones and everything else. I don't think you understand how much of their drone capacity has been degraded, and I don't think you would understand that if they started to put drone attacks on Marines around Karg Island, at the lethality of the response. The lethality of the response of the U.S. will be 100 times worse. There will be no installation in Iran that will be alive, and they will kill all electricity in Iran as part of the defense to defend Karg Island. Because I think the military game plan here is you either capitulate, give us what we want, or we literally take over Karg Island, Strait of Hormuz, bring in the minesweepers to clean up the strait, and generally basically make that a U.S. property at this point until the situation is resolved, which would be the right play, and that actually would be incredibly bullish for everything. Okay, we got 7 minutes, worth a shot on this. White dot reversal trade here. Let me see if I can make the trade. Boom. Again, this is a 59, so I want to go to 69. So maybe even 60, 68 as my target. And my stop is against swing lows. Actually, it should really be session lows, but I'm going to give myself swing lows as my stop on this particular trade. See if I can get the turn before the market opens up. It's probably, too late to enter. We usually want to wait, don't want to enter 5 minutes before the market open, but we'll give it a shot. as a possible turn trade here on the reversal. So again, we've spent 1, 2, 3, about 20 minutes holding the lows. The sellers have not been able to penetrate, and now we're trying to see if the buyers can sweep the sellers, make them short cover, for the sweep up. We'll see if this plays out. I'm talking and I'm not fully focusing on the trade, but this is, if 10 is a perfect trade, this is probably like a 6. So okay. It's not easy to sink an aircraft carrier. I think that's a big myth. There's a guy named Ryan. Oh God, what is his name? Ryan Kaspeth. He's a great analyst. There we go. The trade is done. He's a great, amazing military analyst. He's got a great YouTube channel. Super intelligent guy, lots of experience, a former Iraq veteran. And he talks about how ridiculous that is. The only people who say that it's easy to sink an aircraft carrier are people who clearly have never been in the military. And you notice, by the way, the only people that say that are like CIA analysts, ex-CIA analysts, or people who really have zero military experience about exactly how that whole thing works. There's almost no chance that they're going to be able to sink an aircraft carrier that way, especially with the kind of defensive tactics they have now. So we'll see. I'm just riffing, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to lay out what I think could be the geopolitical scenarios that are then going to have impact on the market. You don't have to agree with me. I don't even know if I agree myself. I don't know if that's going to be the play, but I'm just simply trying to game out what are the possible scenarios for the next 5-10 days, all of which are obviously going to have massive impact on price and movement and everything else. So you should just be which should all be there. So while we wait for the market to open, let me take you back to tactics and some of the thoughts that I have on my own tactics. As you see right now, all I'm trading is my funded accounts, just trading nothing else but funded accounts, right? And we're not, because I really want to focus on the proper protocol for funded. And here are my rules. I may have one of these days actually type them out for you guys to kind of put it together. But here are the rules that I decided I'm going to follow, hopefully to the T. We are 2 minutes away, testing session lows. And by the way, if you were wondering, like, why is it that I go for 10 points? If you notice that this trade was only good for 10 points, what I yes, thank you, Asil. I'm glad I know you emailed it to me. I emailed you right away because I wanted to make sure that you knew that there was a function in there for 200 SMA. I totally lost my train of thought here for a second, guys. What was I saying? I was saying that I want to trade my fundeds. Here are my rules. Here's my rules. I'm only trading 1 micro. Rule number 1. Okay. Oh, the reason why I only go for 10 is because very often these turn trades are only good for 10. In other words, this trade would have been a loser that I turned into a winner only because I controlled my target to its most likely point of departure, right? So anyways, from a tactical point of view, 1 micro only always. Trading the account to the next $100. Okay. Once I get to the next $100, I go to the next account. So just like, you know, for example, I don't know, like 20, this is close enough. 2694. I started 26. I ran it to 94. That's great. Same with this. This account was at 25 because this is the new account. I ran it to 91. I'm rotating to new one. Now I'm trying to run the 54, you know, towards the 100. If I make a losing trade, this is very, very important rule. If I make a losing trade in the account, I immediately go to another account. There's no ifs, buts, and thens. There's no excuses. There's nothing else. It doesn't matter. I simply roll to the next account. I work on the next account. Anytime I have a losing trade, I move to the next account, right? What was the other last thing that I wanted to show you? So this one, move to the next account. Oh, and your job is not to win. Your job is literally never to lose twice in the same account consecutively. Basically, the whole idea is I don't care if 5 of these accounts sort of are flat or negative, as long as I can get one account towards payout target. It's kind of a completely, I decided I'm going to do a sort of a complete opposite mentality and goal structure or what everybody does, which is like, oh, I have 10 accounts and I'm going to get them all to target in one day. I'm going to take 10 accounts. I don't care if I lose 9 of them, as long as I get one of them to target, because mathematically and actually from a P&L point of view, that will still be profitable. If you do that on a continuous basis. It just, we'll talk about that in coaching, and I'll show you the whole Monte Carlo simulation of that. But the general idea here is I'm going to be doing the exact opposite of what every fake guru on the internet does. I'm literally going to trade for pennies to try to make pennies instead of trading for millions of fake money, because we all know that they actually never really achieve those numbers. Because as you know that there's been so many scandals of I'm sure you guys you must be smart enough to understand that if somebody says, oh, I made $1 million, see, I took this account and I ran it to like $1 million, they are literally using a second account where they're losing $1 million. They're basically just simply doing offsetting trades and just keeping the winning trades and just showing you the winning trades all the time. That's the only way mathematically those type of results are possible. I'm almost certain that almost every single person, except with a few guys I know who are like Austin, who's really legit, Nick, who's really legit, are all showing you fake results. So I'm running 6 funded accounts in Tradingview, and we have another 6 funded accounts in Wealth Charts. You can go up to 20, and I really actually want to go back up to 20. But for now, I just decided let's work the fundeds. We've done enough of pre-fundeds this week. I don't even think we have that many news events, but I'll get more eval accounts a little bit later. It's a great time to get them if you guys don't have any funded. It's a great time to get the evals because Apex obviously is super cheap right now. But I just really want to focus on the funded process this week with you guys in the most in the most sort of non-bullshit way possible, right? Yeah, is the naked truth. There's almost no way to sync it. Yeah, I totally agree with you. So that's my whole point. I mean, I listen to military experts who are actually, I never listen to CIA analysts. Literally the worst human beings in the world. I'll tell you a side story. Since we have no signals right now. I'll tell you an interesting story. So you guys know that I'm Soviet born, right? That I'm Russian born, right? I came to this country in 1974 in literally when President Nixon was resigning, right? Like literally in Watergate time. So it was obviously clearly a very tumultuous time in the history of the country. So my mother, was obviously a very, very bright woman. Just to go backwards, my family in Russia, my grandfather was a very senior military officer. He was actually the chief of the Russian version of the Army Corps of Engineers and was responsible for literally every single nuclear installation in Russia, which is why they never let us out until, unfortunately, he passed away, because he had like one of the highest security clearances. But anyways, my mother we come to America. My mom goes into this advanced Russian area studies program at Georgetown. We lived in Washington, D.C. at that time. Advanced Russian area studies program in Georgetown University. And she's obviously a very, very intelligent woman. Somehow she gets invited to the War College. I forget, somebody saw her. Because of course, when we came to this country, the first thing that happened is I literally came off the plane because of my grandfather's security credentials. My mother was instantly taken by the FBI for like a massive the FBI sent me to like a special farm. Like I was 13 years old to stay with these people who just basically, this American family just kind of took care of me while they debriefed my mom for 2 weeks about all the various secrets of them. This is peak of Cold War. But anyways, about 2 years later, she goes in front of the War College and she tells them, like unequivocally, that all of the Russian ICBM missile sites are a joke, that their guidance systems are a disaster, that they are literally, creaking on the edge of bankruptcy. And they all look at her like she's absolutely crazy. And they say, you have no idea, we are so, they're a super, super strong threat, blah, 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 blah. Needless to say, the Berlin Wall cracked. Everything that she told them was completely true. But it was just fascinating to me at the idiocy of the intelligence establishment and not understanding at, where the real threats were and overestimating the threats that were there at that time. So that's why just a long riff conversation about why I consider almost all intelligence officers in the U.S. and anywhere else, maybe with the exception of Mossad because of their operational ability, just complete waste of time. Whatever information they have, you pretty much want to bet the opposite. So that's it. That's my last riff on all of this. I'm watching the session lows now. We are 9:35. We're going to take the sell here. Actually, shit, I need to change. I'm sorry, guys. Okay. No, hold on. We're not going to take this. Stop. What is this? What is this? Sorry, I'm riffing and I do want to. I think this was so. If I were to take this trade, I didn't take this. Sorry, I don't need to take this trade. I'm yelling, but I should be taking this trade. This trade is a golden X trade. Too much volatility. I'm glad I missed it. This is not a trade I want to take, even though this is a legitimate ORB breakdown trade. The VWAP is over here. Lots of momentum. It probably is going to work, but the risk associated with this trade, because I would have to take this trade here, my stop would have to be all the way over here. It's a massive, massive stop and not worth the $10 target that I want to do. So sometimes you have a great trade, but it's just not a great risk. Nice to have you in the room, Naked Truth. Anyways, that was like an interesting story from the 70s because that show, TV show, The Russians. I think it was called The Russians. Is that what it was called? Is with Carrie, Matthew Rhimes and Was that what it was called? News? DRD, what's on the news? What's the news? What are we doing? What's on the news here? Somebody's saying to me this movement. Is there some headlines? Qatar Energy declare force majeure some LNG supply contracts. Did they get attacked again? Oh, 945 rate. Flash manufacturing. Oh, I thought there was just things. Okay, so you see, as I said to you, this trade would have worked because it's obviously a huge amount of vol move, right? But just a lot of risk. It's just again, in order for me to trade this trade, it's working, and I always, I'm always sometimes struggling between, hey, the higher the volatility, the likelier success, but also the higher the risk. And within the structure that I'm kind of doing, which is a relatively risk control structure, I decided I'm going to pass up on the golden X trades. Right, we're just printing right now massively high volatility one-way candles. And you're certainly welcome to trade them, but within my risk structure, I just decided I'm going to pass up on these things. So this was probably 2-3 winning trades that we could have taken, but I just simply decided I don't want to take the the massive retrace risk that's embedded in these things. The Americans, right? The Americans. That was literally my childhood. I spent all of my youth living in McLean, Virginia, which is actually the home of the CIA. And everybody thought that I was a Russian spy when I lived there. This is like late 70s until the 80s. Oh wow, look at these moves, guys. We are really breaking the lows. So New York session lows took out London lows. Now we watch for consolidation. Let's see what wants to, what the trade wants to bring. I think I want to rotate. I want to go to the 56 account. Let me take the 56 account and just we will trade. Okay, so we are breaking. You see this? We're breaking the point of control by here. If we close 83 or above, we're going to try and trade this little bit of a reversal. It's a big reversal. It's a big risk, but not a wow, really. Oh, Jesus Christ. Wow, that's a big move. Okay, let's see. 9, 10, 4, 5. We're in here. I'm in at 96 and I want to be out at 6. And take this out. This is a massive risk I got to assume. And that's what you got to do if you want to trade this properly in terms of my structure. So we'll see if this consolidates, tries to come back up. Of course, markets never make it easy because the thing is, everybody's thinking, all the smart traders are thinking the same thing. Well, we made the lows. We're going to make we're going to cover, we're going to squeeze the shorts on the cover. And sometimes the whole profit is actually in the signal candle, right? Like this candle was so huge, it left very little meat on the bone for you to try to extract the additional profit from the short covering that we clearly see here. And that happens sometimes. And you have to kind of balance. You have to say, am I going to still take that trade given the fact that they've taken so much profit out on the signal candle, or or am I going to pass up on it? I passed up on these 3 trades because it was this was a sort of a clear risk decision on my part that I'm just not going to take any X trades. Even though every one of these trades would have been good. And that's just, the whole point is that this is what makes trading so much fun, but also so very nuanced. It's not that there is just good trades, that there's bad trades. It's that some trades can be very bad within a good context, and some trades can be very good within a bad context, right? And the context variance is really kind of the art of the science. Oh, did we just pop? Did this thing just pop? Oh, wow. Holy shit. This just popped to literally within a ticker. Because I was trading news too. That's right. DRD, doctor. I totally forgot that I was trading news. That was stupid of me. But maybe this is going to work for me now. Maybe the news is going to carry me. I totally forgot I was fronting the news. Thanks for, you made me reminisce about my whole CIA-fueled childhood. Spreads are bad for CFDs, but not for futures. This is why we trade futures. You see, this future spread is only half to 3/4 spread, normal spread. That's what makes futures to be such a superior product. Oh, come on, baby. They're really moving around. And having survived all of this volatility, we hit target and we go on. The point of control buy trade works out. Yeah. But anyways, from a market point of view, guys, do you see how we can literally see the change in flows with the indicator and position ourselves at a point where we have a reasonable change, reasonable expectation that change of flows is going to take us to profit, right? I did do something. I mean, I totally forgot. Doctor told me that there was a PMI announcement, but we survived the vol. And the reason, by the way, why I survived the vol is because I told you that the only legitimate stop in this zone is this stop. So you kind of have to either accept a massively large field of play or just not play. Like here, I just decided I'm not going to play. I'm not going to participate in this battle. Here, I decided I was going to participate in this battle. Unfortunately, it worked my way. I went to McLean High School, home of the Highlanders. Still friends with tons of my high school classmates. Half their parents were CIA case officers. I really miss the 70s, man. I really do. That was such a fun time. Okay, Wasil really deserves a great explanation. He called the POC trades POS trades, and I totally understand, how they could be if you sort of don't appreciate the dynamic. Now, I think maybe bell bottoms, baby. Yes. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let me. So, Wasil, I'll come back to the POC trades in just 1 second. Let me just see. I just want to see if we're getting more. If we're getting a run back down to the session lows. So, kind of just to summarize where the market action has been. We've been selling off all night long. London ran to 24,500 at the London Open, by the way, which was interesting. I'll show you how they ran the highs over there, which was also very tradable, which I traded too. And then they've just been distributing. We opened New York with a tiny little squeeze up and then just a complete reversal. Take out London lows on large volatility candles. hit hit New York session lows here early in the first 10-15 minutes of the trade, essentially around this 24,100 level. And obviously now, almost all eyes are going to be on the idea, oh, can we run the 24,000? Because that's really, there's going to be a massive amount of stops around that area. It's very, very enticing for the dealers to want to see if they could collect some liquidity over there, but I hate that word liquidity. It is a bullshit made up word by Gen Zers who don't basically understand that it's just nothing more but just stops resting at those areas. Okay. That would be a sort of like a natural run over here, but it's basically there's no such thing as liquidity. There's just a whole bunch of stops that somebody's trying to gather, and that's what they're trying to collect. And now we know. Now we're aiming for session lows, which is interesting. Now this is an interesting setup that's happening, because if we make a session low here, it's both a session low and a double bottom, right? And that type of formation can really go both ways. I'm gonna take this trade, but very mindful that the trade is actually getting big. I'm getting a gold next, so not a trade for me. I will pass up. I'm really gonna stay strictly adherent to my risk control methods. By the way, I put the vol. I actually lowered the vol. The vol was going to be 40 points on a candle. In other words, in order for the candle to create an X, it's got to be 40 points or larger. And I actually made it 30 points. So, because remember, within my own structure, I'm now putting my stops at swing highs, swing lows. And I don't want to kind of add more risk to my idea. So therefore, I'm going to filter. I'm going to be more careful on the candle entries, in order to be able to give myself plenty of room against the swing highs, swing lows. And here we are making New York session lows. Although I'm really tempted to want to short this right now. Okay, so Vasil, you were asking me about the point of control. Why is that interesting? The basic logic of this is the most recent momentum candle. Like in this case, obviously the red dot, right? We're down, so we're looking for a reversal, which is a POC buy. If the most recent momentum candle is reversed, that means people who had the highest price on this candle are going to be now underwater, right? Think about this in the way that people look at volume. If the guys who sold at the bottom are now going to be struggling and underwater, like if most of the volume happened at the lows, and now we're at the highs, every one of those guys has to cover. This is the exact same visual structure. I'm going to go long here, guys. Okay. I'm long here. What is it? 79. I want to go to 89. 89. And now I'm going to come back down here against the swing lows. If they have been squeezed higher, then they are in a vulnerable position, and you can exploit that by going long this trade, which I'm trying to do right now. Hopefully we can get the hit. There we go. Come on. There we go. And we're done, right? That's literally the dynamic. That's how you turn a POS into a POC, hopefully. But that's the basic logical structure of why do I like this trade. It's because I got these guys on the run, so I have the opportunity. They are forced buyers, which means they're going to give me fuel to go higher, right? Everybody, seeing that, understanding that? Yeah, it's just fucking stops. I despise every young person, okay? I am perfectly happy to say this. I despise this whole fucking generation of morons. They are basically amoebas as far as their intellectual capability goes. ICT is nothing more than what's his name? God, who's the guy in the 30s? Witkoff, who was much more elegant and much better at describing double tops, the double bottoms distributions and accumulations. Okay. IFG, whatever the fuck that candle is, that there's some kind of a is literally the single worst signal you can possibly imagine. It's a retrace buy, and retrace buys almost always fail. At best, retrace buys are 50% accurate. Literally the stupidest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. And whenever you see them try to explain their stuff, it's always on a case-by-case basis, right? One of the things that you know about dots is that it works all the time. If it's going to be POC here, it's going to be POC there, it's going to be POC there. There's not a fucking variance. Oh, but this is different because, my ass felt hot on this particular side of the chart, and therefore I won't take the trade. There's always a if, but, then. There isn't a actual clear, contained setup. Yeah, Wyckoff. But I literally despise everybody who's under 30 these days. You can hate me all you want, and I sound like an old man. I just find them to be morons that don't deserve to breathe for the most part. Oh, sorry, guys. I need to be focused. So we have a white dot now, and this is now a reversal momentum signal, right? Where would we be if we took this trade? If we took this trade, the entry would be here, and the stop again would be against session lows, swing lows. That's the only legitimate stop in this particular structure, right? Where am I? What did I take? I'm on 56. Okay, I'll stay on 56. No, the trade goes away. I'm not trading this right now. Do my kids know this? Yes, they do. My kids know this, and my kids agree. My kids. Actually, I take it back. There is like a small component of really, really great young kids who I absolutely love, who are like industrious, serious, and really, really just sort of like, I think, the next wave of the great generation. And then there is the entitled, spoiled little pieces of shit, all of whom should have been strangled at birth because they don't deserve to fucking live. And that's that whole generation I absolutely hate. But don't let me hold back, right? So big candle here again. Hey, I get a little excited. You guys know that nothing I say is actually serious, right? I'm always just exaggerating. I'm a Gemini, which means that everything I say needs to be divided by a factor of 10 in order to understand what I'm actually saying. So yeah, of course I don't mean that. I'm really starting to sound like an old boomer at this point, but I've had enough. So viable trade, totally viable trade, just a little too much risk for me, and probably would work. But actually, you know what? The trade, as I'm looking at this trade, we probably could have taken this trade with a stop over here, which would have been a reasonable stop. Like, you don't necessarily have to go all the way to the bottom to do swing lows. I think probably this swing low would have been okay. You could have taken this, and it's probably going to work. So I sort of did not take this one. I took a lot of the other ones. All right, I take it back. I'm sorry, guys. I got carried away. I didn't mean to strangle him. Slapped. Slapped. What I meant is slapped. Have their asses slapped hard of some sense into them. Of course, I didn't mean that. I take it back. Let me go back to my PC ways. That's the other thing I was just thinking about the other day. I was thinking, oh my God, the 70s were so much fun because you said the most horrendous things to human beings, right? You have no idea how much I used to get abused, in the 70s, and how many, horrible nicknames and slurs were thrown at me. And it was all fine because you knew it was just words, right? And you were friends and you were buddies and, you could have called each other just horrendous names. And this whole idea of words offending you just amazes me at how weak of a human being do you have to be if you're threatened by a word, So yeah, I was just thinking about that too the other day. So you guys saw this, right? Sorry, you saw this breakout, you see there's a lot of trades that I'm passing up that are actually totally workable trades. Partly because I'm riffing right now and I'm really talking. But you see how I think what's really, really good is you see how this new structure, how accurate it is in picking ideas. So even if I'm not taking trades, you guys are obviously can take the trades off the signals and benefit from them. But this structure of like coming in here, taking the trade, again, I'm passing up on this one just because it's an X trade. And because here, if I'm taking this trade, now the stop has to be all the way back here. Whereas from here, the stop all the way back here was kind of reasonable. Now it's really, really a big stop. Do I want to risk the idea of a complete unwind? I don't. The beautiful thing is we're getting a trade every 5 minutes. That's the other thing about this particular structure of setups. The Michael was saying he's sitting on his hands, not doing anything. The beautiful part about trading dots is that you have the luxury of passing up a lot of winning trades. There is no shortage of trade ideas in dots land. And of all the things I think that's really great about the dots structure, that's probably the most valuable, because what it means is that you don't feel FOMO nearly as much as everybody else. Remember, if you have like 1 or 2 good setups a day, by very definition, you're creating scarcity. I have 100 good setups a day, so I have no scarcity. And really, what I have is I have the luxury of selection. I'm ruining the depth of character. Sorry, I don't know what you mean by that, Chuck. Oh, by like giving offense to words, by not creating tough people who can take insults and criticism. Oh, 100%. If that's what you mean, I totally agree with you. Yeah. Okay, so we're now in ORB land. The first half hour has set our opening range highs and lows. New York session is not. It's about a 200-point range, right? Where's the? Okay, so it's hard to see because I have these labels. Let me go back to my. Let's go back to our boomer thing. It's 24,314 and 135. So one of the things that's kind of interesting is while there was, this sort of concerted run, we certainly never got close to the 24,000 level, right? We held up way above the 24,1. So for now, we're sort of operating in this 24,150 or 24,100 and 24,300 zone, right? Most importantly, we are now in what I call Death Valley. Like this is just Death Valley. There's nothing to be done here. This is not where the action is going to happen here or here. And if we're going to just trudge along here, one of the most interesting and valuable lessons I learned is that even signals that could be legitimate within here are not worth it. You are mid-zone. You are at, half field. You're neither scoring nor defending, and therefore the probability of resolution, going your way, the probability of noise is just much greater. That's it. Oh, sorry. What does the X symbol mean, Michael? What does the X symbol mean? It's a personal symbol. So in other words, it's your own personal volatility gate. You set that X symbol by going into dots. Easy. You're going to go into the section called 2B, high volatility candle setting, right? And you say, what is my threshold for the candle? In other words, from high to low, how much of a candle am I going to accept before I say, oh, this is too big a candle? The meaning, why is it too big? Remember, the reason why it's too big a candle is because the trigger candle is our first area of defense. It's our first area of where we're going to put our stops, right? We're never going to put a stop anywhere intra candle, right? Because that's just idiocy. So at very minimum, we have to use the candle as the stop. And if the candle is super large, that means we have to put a super large stop. And this is just simply a warning system to you. Now, my warning system is set at 30 points. It says, hey, this candle is 30 points. If you would really want to be serious about this trade, at very minimum, you got to risk 30 points, and you're probably going to have to risk maybe 50 points to want to do this trade. Do you want to do this trade, right? It's just a warning signal on a personal level. Now, if you're swing trading, like a lot of guys in my room, right? They don't care because they may be like, listen, this to me is actually the perfect candle because I'm going to be 60 back, but I'm going to be looking for 100 forward. And usually the first, the big X is the start usually of a large big move, right? So it really, the beautiful part about the indicator is it's very tailored to how you want to trade. I'm trading obviously very defined, very short, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, right? I am a 3 yards in a cloud of dust trader, right? I'm not the long ball trader, right? I'm not throwing touchdowns. I'm not hitting home runs. I'm going first base, 10 yards, first base, 10 yards, or whatever. There's not even a soccer equivalent to this, right? I guess I'm not a long ball player in soccer, right? I'm a tiki-taka player in football. That would be the all the Europeans chime in as to short, clean, direct passes. I guess that would be the old Barcelona Pep Guardiola way of playing, right? So yes, you can adjust it based upon your tolerance. It's obviously set in ticks, so you can do it. Yeah. Ayeb, nice to have you in the room, and let me give you a couple of links. I'm going to give you links to our DOTS playbook, which is over here. By the way, the DOTS playbook has also been rewritten, so you guys can get the new version, and our ORB playbook. And both of these, you should, if you're new to the room and you want to come hang out with us, you should bookmark these pages, because I actually just realized, I should put on those pages. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to put our permanent streaming link on those pages so that everybody who's new, who comes in and comes, chats and wants to check us out, if you bookmark those pages, you'll then, you'll always land into our YouTube streaming channel, and you know exactly when we're streaming new stuff. I just realized that. Good. Okay, so we'll do that. But anyways, everybody who's new in the room, I just put the links in there. Please bookmark these pages. They give you the basic philosophy of what we do, what the structure is, and have a whole bunch of really interesting free tools up there on those pages, and you can really use it a lot. Yes, there's no Discord. We scrapped the Discord, but Michael, we're actually going to revive the Discord. I'm not allowed to say this, but we're going to revive the Discord. Probably, I would say after Easter, Passover break, where when everybody comes back from spring, because it's just a massive undertaking to kind of revive but I'm finally throwing in the towel. The reason we killed Discord was because so many people I despise Discord because there's just no security protocol in that structure, and you constantly get people who pretend to be me or pretend to be Kathy soliciting you for money. And we had so many people literally lose hundreds of thousands of dollars on scams that I just decided no. But because it is such a great interactive platform, because the positive side of it is it's just a super easy way for you to communicate with me. We're going to do this, but it's all going to be at your own risk. If you are stupid enough to give anybody money, then you deserve to lose it at this point. That's all I can tell you. Kathy and I will never, ever, ever, and I'll say this once we open up Discord, I'll say this every single day at Streamer. We will never ask you for a penny. Okay, never. We don't manage money. We'll never take your money. We'll never take your crypto. I despise crypto, and we'll certainly never ask you for any crypto. So that's all. But we are going to go back to Discord. So what's interesting going on here is you guys watching the price, right? Watching the price development. We tested the lows. We ran through the mids, right? And now we're trying to mount the run towards the ORB highs, right? Yes. So Ben, in the ORB webpage, which I just sent you, right? Let me just do this again. Wait. Wait, why is this not working? Hold on. Okay, here it is. In the ORB link that I just put out there, it literally tells you the UTC times and the Chicago, New York times. So anchor against those things. You just use those settings. It's permanently in that page, the proper settings. And then you'll know. The problem is that TradingView itself constantly adjusts what you see to your timeline. So I just sort of said to you like what it should be, Chicago time and New York time, and you simply just arrange it that way, and you'll be fine. Okay, purple dot, kind of midfield. I'm not going to take this trade, but it's not a horrible trade if this prints. Maybe I will take it just to kind of show you, because I think it's I'm not going to be. Where am I at 56? Do I want to be in 56? No, I want to be. Let's go to 58. Let's go to 58. I just want to rotate accounts. What I'm doing is I'm rotating accounts here. Oh, it just got really big a little bit, huh? All right, let's take this. I'm gonna violate my rules. At 21, I want to be at 11. At 11. See if I can make this. And my stop is going to be really has to be over here, to be honest. But I got done anyways. So because I knew this was going to be a relatively decent trade, so we got done. But the other thing I was going to say is, if you're going to take an X trade if you're going to say I'm not going to take X trades, but if I'm going to make an exception to the rule, it has to be the first. This was the first red X trade, right? We already had lots of. If you take the first X trade, you have really, really strong possibility of continuity, right? So at this point, I was like, I'm going to take the first X trade. I'm not going to go fully over here to risk, but I'm going to go to risk over here and see if it works. And it obviously worked. And you guys see, you see how all of my accounts are growing. The whole idea is to grow them, every one of them, by 100 a day, very, very steady. And all of these guys are, running higher. Like I'm at 58. I'm going to try to run this to the 100. I'm going to try to run this to the 100. Just basically that's it. It's not rocket science. I'm going to collect a lot of dimes, and by the end of the day, I'll hope I have $1. And then by the end of the week, I hope I have $5. And then by the end of the month, I'm going to get paid out. That's my strategy. and I'm going to try to stick to it as much as possible, because now I have like all the risk control tools to make it happen. Oh, sorry. And Wasil, by the way, just to let you know, and this is something I really can't change right now because it's just too annoying to try to, I mean, I could, but I don't want to bother programming it. The POC, the point of control trades, should really be unchecked, except when we are hitting session highs and session lows. You're only interested in those trades around, they're reversal trades, and reversal trades are only valuable at the extremes. So, they don't automatically uncheck. So you should, once you've left the extremes, just uncheck them both. And then once you revisit the extremes, once you're at the highs or at the lows, you can check them back. And that's when you, there. That's good. That's fine. That's great, Michael. You proportion yourself to the accounts that you trade. Yeah. So, astrologer is pointing out. Let me just sort of show you. He's actually going backwards. He's actually using. So this is London low, which is actually mid range to the New York low, and he's kind of trading that area. Now I'm not trading that area, but it's an interesting idea, an interesting trade idea within our structure. So it looks like it's getting tested to the upside and getting rejected, right? Astrologer. So it could be interesting to see. You certainly could make a reasonable case here that, like, if this is a dot, it's a rejection of the London high, London low, and you are basically, you could put a stop pretty much at this, not the swing highs because it's quite a lot, but maybe over here, and see if there's more. Now, if we run the move to the downside. So this is what I talked about, the idea of context, right? It's always about creating which context that you're trading against. So astrologer is trading against this context, which we don't even see for the most part, but to him, this was an interesting context trade. So just, for shits and giggles, let's play along. Let's say I was short 92. The stop would be around this 51 level. Can we hit 82 on the continuity? Yot, I sent out an email yesterday. Please double check to see if you have an email from me. The email has a link. You just got to fill out the link, and I will enable it. If you haven't gotten the email, send me a note to contact@bktraders.com. I'll take a look at why. Some of you guys, I know you don't realize it, but some of you guys just simply, maybe because you don't want to get emails from us or whatever, you put us on a do not disturb list, so you don't get any communication. And when you don't get any communication, you don't get the benefit of this stuff. So, make sure, Tony, I sent it out to all the lives also yesterday. I'll double check to see what's going on over there. But anybody who hasn't gotten an email, just email me a note and I'll tell you what's going on. It may be in your spam. You may have put us on a do not disturb, but generally those are two of the most common reasons why you haven't gotten the email, because you can see everybody else got the email. But I'll let you know. So in this case, did not, that area rejected and then did not follow through, right? So now it's kind of a reversal. Now they're challenging the London highs. Now remember, we're still stopped over here, so we're still surviving the stop, but clearly the trade not working on the assumption of how we did. I'm play acting this trade because it's not a trade that I'd be doing. And one of the reasons why I'm not doing it is because, and this is kind of astrologer. Think about this. London was long ago. London was 4 or 5 hours ago, right? The people who care about London no longer are the ones that are the main participants are the Americans, and they're probably not thinking as much about London lows, London highs, as they're thinking about American highs and lows. And if you're looking within the American context, we're just midfield. So there isn't any directional flow that we can anchor off of right now, right? And within the American context, this is just randomness, which is what I'm trying to basically avoid. You never get invitations. Okay, so please send me a note. We'll do an investigation. I'll try to find out what's going on with your email address. Usually there's only two explanations. You are in a do not disturb, or we are in a do not disturb, and you just basically, all of our emails are going to spam, or they're just in a different folder and you haven't found it. And occasionally, if for some reason you are not on the database, I will let you know and I'll put you on there, and then we'll test it. It's not difficult to resolve, but it's a two-way process. I can't help you if you keep us off the do not disturb list. So here's another thing that I kind of want to point out to you guys. Pretty flat session today, right? Like really, like especially the 10 to 10:30 hour, really, really flat, right? Yet we haven't had any heat today, this session, right? I haven't done a lot of stupid trades. I haven't, sold the bottoms, bought the tops. I haven't bought random trades. It's been kind of like, I basically kept us. I traded when I could, and just stayed very, very still when I didn't have to. And look at the results. I mean, every account is positive P&L. That's why I decided I'm going to just simply do this very Zen-like structure. So I'm going to repeat this because I got to go, but I'm going to repeat the rules that I started with today for the dot structure, which is for me, and you guys can obviously adjust how you like it. I'm trading one micro contract. This is for 25,000 accounts. I'm trading for a fixed 10 target and a variable swing low, swing high stop. I'm avoiding any high volatility candles, which I define as 30 points or more, with possible exception of the first high volatility candle in the cycle, where I may be willing to take that risk. Anytime I make a losing trade, I have a losing trade, doesn't matter what the reason is, I immediately leave that account and move to the other account, to the next account. And my daily focus is to try to run each individual account to its next $100 target, right? That's it. That's all I'm doing. 10 points. I'm always talking in points. 10 points. This is for NASDAQ. And by the way, for gold, those numbers are 4 points. I traded gold last night really, really well. In OLA, I'm going to be trading gold tonight. The same principles. I'm going to show you how we do this with gold in OLA Prime tonight for everybody on MetaTrader. I actually did. I got the whole MetaTrader totally cleaned up. So today should be a really, really good session for those of you guys that want to trade gold with me on MetaTrader. It's going to be really fine tuned. But yeah, that's it. That's all we're doing. It's the new, really tranquil, very peaceful, very PC Boris. Okay, who does not hate all the young children of the world, who really loves everybody at this point, right? That's me. I am practically, I'm practically the Hare Krishna at this point. That's one thing you can never be able to say about me. There's no Russian that ever practices Zen Buddhism, I think. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys had a fun session. It was really, really cool. We did hit, lots of good trades. Everybody, the indicators are now totally live. You see all of the risk controls and everything else going on up here, and it's fun. That's right. No PC here. All right, Nico. Compared, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Sorry, you mean compared to last week, my trading or the market, Nico? I mean, I think it's probably both, right? But definitely my trading, right? My trading is really, really much calmer, right? You're right. It's a good lesson that you want to stick to what you're good at, not what you're supposed to do. And by the way, if what I'm doing is not comfortable for you, you should be doing the exact thing that is comfortable for you. The beautiful thing about these indicators is they're fully customizable to your way of trading. You just have to create the right approach, create the right context to the move, right? Okay, we're going back to session lows. Remember, it's not over till it's over. We may test 24,000 yet as the day develops. We'll see what goes on. No new headlines so far. We'll see what's going down. It's going to be evening in the Middle East, and that's all going to be always something new going on over there. I'll see everybody tonight for gold. Otherwise, everybody have a great day. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.